Just like shocked because I never knew that there's these opportunities, or that young entrepreneurs, how it's called now, have the opportunity to start their own business without an education in that what they're doing now. And I think this was like, or this is a completely game changer for the whole process in the world.
Jacqueline, how are you doing today? Thank you so much for joining me.
Hello, yes, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet
Everything
you.
is great. We have a great weather actually where I'm staying. So
Mhm.
the summer is not over now, but getting closer to autumn, but everything's fine. How are you?
I'm good. Where are you at the moment, actually?
It's close to Frankfurt. It's around about 30 minutes drive. So it's a small city. It's quite nice. It's called Alzey.
Oh, okay. I'm actually at the Lake of Constance. Have you been there before? Both?
No, never,
Oh,
never.
okay. Well, you got to come visit sometimes. Really nice down here as well.
Yes, of course, of course. If it's well, what is it? Is it like a small town, or is it like, what is it?
I'll have to just send you a picture later, but a lot of times when we post pictures of it, Germans are like, "Hey, where is that place? Are you guys on a holiday in Greece?" It's like, "No, this is Germany."
Yeah, well, Germany has a lot of places that where like, yeah, they're so pretty, and nobody knows that this is Germany
Yeah,
actually. Yeah,
yeah, exactly, exactly.
nice.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Well, hey, I'd like to know a bit about you.
Yes.
You told us your city already, but tell us a bit about you, where you're from, of course, country, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. Well, actually, I'm 26 years old. I grew up in a very small town as a child.
Hmm.
Yeah, my roots. My dad is half is Serbian, so I'm half Serbia and half German. So this is that part.
Hmm.
And yeah, it was really nice, like growing up in small towns, small cities. But when I'm getting older and older, of course, I want more from life and living. So I thought about, okay, is this where I want to be my whole life? Because in that town where I lived, um, when until I was 18, after that I moved out and lived by my own. But yeah, I recognized like everybody there is not going to have their own business or starting a career or yeah, just growing in her personalities. So like everything is the same, like every day is the same. You're just like standing up, going to school or to your education, and or the like the parents and all that kind of stuff, the adults going to work, and everything is the same. And for me, it's like not that boring person. For me, it's important to have new stuff around me, new people, meeting new persons, getting in contact with different things. So this was, I think, the first thing what it's about me and what's my personality, that I'm always looking forward to yeah, connect with new people and see what's going on in the world.
Yeah, I just want to say, first of all, respect that you're starting early.
Yeah.
That's very important, that you start now and you have started now. Second thing is, yeah, I completely understand you. I also live in a city where it's really industry related, so most people are very concerned with getting their hospital,
Yeah.
working in a labor field, which is good. Respect to them, that's their thing. But to find somebody very entrepreneurial minded, it's very difficult. And
Of
also the
course.
generation gap in Germany, I think, when it comes to that's a bit bigger than say in North America. Here, you have a lot of older people that have built something, but
Yeah.
the younger generation is kind of catching up. But in the States, like for example, you have 19, 18-year olds starting their
Yeah.
own e-commerce store already, so
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. I think around about 2 years ago, I just had the first contact with like a digital nomad, and my brain was just like I was just like shocked because I never knew that there's these opportunities, or that young entrepreneurs, how it's called now, have the opportunity to start their own business without an education in that what they're doing now. And I think this was like, or this is a completely game changer for the whole process in the world, like what's going on, because everything is just like changing at the moment. Like especially in my niche, it's like marketing, digital marketing. Everything is different because for I think 5 years ago, everything was on the TV shows, and this was normal. And now it's normal to go in the World Wide Web and see everything what you're looking for, whatever it is. If it's a product, if it is personalities who you want to connect with, they are so much closer than they were years ago.
Yeah, I have to say that's a really good point. Also, like you said, the digital nomad thing, it's unlimited possibilities. I have friends that are in Bali or all around the world. They could just take their job with them. All you need is a laptop. But what
Yes.
I'd like to know from you too is what made you start your company, Modern World Marketing?
Yeah, well, actually, there are two things. One is very personal. The other one is just like, well, I will start with the first one. What's not that personal? My best friend and I were growing up together and knowing each other since about 20 years now. So we connected with six, the age of six. And after her education and working in the hotel area, she getting more and more contact with digital nomads and starting like, what is it about, or what's the kind of living they are living. And she started her own company, and I saw her growing up with her brand, her company, and as a person. And I thought, that's a nice thing. She went to a whole other person. And this is the first time I think I thought about what's when I'm getting out of my normal 9 to 5 job and starting my own business and my own career with my responsibilities. So this is, I think, the first thing or a first contact that I had with like thinking about being a self-employed owner. The second thing, the personal thing, is that I think now, well, I've been self-employed since over a year now, since around about 1.5 years. And there was one big game changer in my life, which was the point where I started Modern World Marketing. It was like 2 years ago. My mom just got very sick, and she had a lot of she went a lot to the hospitality and not being at home. So for me, it was very hard to see her because of my 9 to 5 job. And this was a thing where I also started thinking about my mindset, about what I want in life, if this is the right thing, what I'm doing right now, what's without all that kind of stuff. Like, you have so much in your mind at that point, and you're being such a roller coaster of emotions that your brain is sometimes exploding over everything because you're thinking about everything, what's possibility and what's not, because you see that life can be over in such a short time. And this was the point where I started planning everything. And after half a year of planning, I started Modern World Marketing, and this is what I'm doing right now. It was the best decision I've ever did, because now I can do whenever I want everything what I want. And especially I'm working with persons who have the same mindset as I'm having. And this is like such a blessing, because when you're getting yourself surrounded with people who have also the same goals and have the same mindset, it's just like everything changes in life. And this was the point where I started living, really living, because I enjoyed everything what I did with the right person.
Yeah, I have a similar story. With me is also my father had passed away when I was a bit younger, and that kind of pushed me into it indirectly into the whole entrepreneur world because as my dad died, of course, we had some money left over, but I knew eventually that's going to be gone. It's not going to last forever. Second thing also was when he died quickly before he was going to retire.
Mhm.
So, that shows you nothing's promised forever. And with him, it was also quite sudden. He found out 1 month that he had stage 4 cancer. And the next month he passed away during the chemo. So I understand very clearly
Yeah.
that, you know, you don't know, you have to take every day as you can and do something you enjoy doing because life is too short. So I completely understand. I also enjoy it now. I enjoy doing this. I enjoy talking with people. I
Yeah.
don't have a boss telling me what to do or looking over my shoulder. So I get you
Yeah.
completely. And I don't want to retire with 65. I mean, no offense to people who do that, but
No.
I, yeah, I used to say I wanted to retire with 30. Of course, I'm way past that now, but it's just like my life goals, I just said, but that kind of thinking pushed me further, into reaching my goals. So I get you. I really understand you there.
Yeah.
Um, what I'd like to know though, when it comes to marketing,
Mhm.
what are your favorite niches to work with? What kind of companies or brands, or do you like to work with digital companies? Do you like to work with your small, also Kleinhandel, as you guys say, or small businesses?
Yes. Yes. Well, I would say it's completely different. It depends on the company and on the persons who are working in the company, because actually I'm working right now with a lot of startups. What's really, really nice, because they're being not like on the market that big, and you have a lot to do with them. So they are working, like they're very, very hardworking persons in it, and they're very like motivated to do everything to get the best results. And I think this is one point what's very, very important when you're working in a digital marketing area, because you need persons who understand that it's important to be authentic and be present in the market and in the niche, because today it's a game changer if you go to the World Wide Web and you're just typing in the field like, what can we do for an example? Like you want to rent a house, and everybody knows, I think, about Airbnb. Like if you want to find something where you can stay over a few nights or over a week or a month or whatever you want, you have the possibility. And this because it's a completely digital platform what's working very well. So like with every company that we're working, we have the biggest intention to get the best results in being positioned and seen in the World Wide Web. So with startups, it's very, very like easy to find in which niche they're working and like see what they can have for a position and what's their like big picture behind it. Like because they're on a point where they will grow up a lot or they will grow a lot, and there are so much possibilities that you can change, or they're changing a product because it's not working, or they want to like try some different, what is it called, Zielgruppen.
Yeah, they want to try different audiences, right?
Right, they want to try different audiences. So sometimes I'm working just like with startups, but also with like companies who are being like completely like focused and stayed like they're staying on the market for a long time. So because they're actually doing a rebranding and they're getting new products that they want to just sell over the internet, because they're knowing that this is the thing what's going on in the world right now. Like selling over the internet, I think, is the most thing to sell products in a big size. So it depends really on the story and what's behind the company, because this is also a thing what we're very like focused on. We want to get to know the persons behind the name, because a lot of companies, they're just like to know them because of the name. Like Nike, everybody knows they have like clothing, sports, they are completely positioned in the industry for sports and like shoes and that kind of stuff. And for some, it's really, really hard to understand why is this like brand so like good in what they're doing, and to understand what's the focus, because why they are so good is that what we're doing. We learned a lot in a big like time, what's good, what's working, what's not working, what's good for smaller companies, what's good for bigger companies, because it's completely different. So for us, it's like we're working with both small and bigger ones.
Yeah, I have to say then we're a bit similar, because I also work with startups, but in a different way, more so bringing German companies to the States, but also because I
Nice.
understand the cultural thing on both sides. So if an American startup wants to bring their business here, we set up a virtual assistant for them, a whole support team to answer questions in German, and yada, yada, yada. Also, the ads are done in German. So what I wanted to say, though, that wasn't a flex. I just wanted to say, what I wanted to say on top of that was simply that what I like too about startups is that the energy that's there,
Yeah.
the motivation that's there, and also they're not set in their ways. No offense to a lot of older companies, but they're willing to move quickly with the time,
Yes.
and they're so open. And it's such a small team. Usually, you don't have a lot of barriers when
Yeah.
you keep pushing your strategies through. So I completely understand where you're coming from, and I think it's working with startups is really good. Like I said, the energy. You also get to learn something too, right, about the new
Of
tech.
course, of course. It's crazy how much I'm learning when I'm just like working with some startups, because they're, as you said, it like the energy level is next level. Like when you're being in a big company, like you have to connect with 10 or 20 persons to just like get one point done. And when you're working with a startup, you have maybe two maximum of 3 persons, and you're like having just like the shortest time and getting things done. And this is what I love to work with them, because it's easier.
Yeah, it's easier, and yeah, I think that's a good niche to start with. You know, when I first started here, I was going after small businesses in the city, and I said, you know what, they've been hit up maybe 5, 10, 20 times from other agencies, and I'm pretty sure where you're from, you have tons of competition, right? I said, you
Yeah.
know, I have to think bigger than just, no offense to Friedrichshafen, but bigger than Friedrichshafen or Bodensee. I have to think worldwide, and that's why I also started going after startups too. So that's cool that's your thing too.
Yeah. But
And
I would say, sorry for
no, go
interrupting.
ahead. Go ahead.
Um, but I would say the competition actually is, for me, for myself, for my company, not that big, because like there are so many like digital marketing persons and agency out there. Yes, of course. And I know that a lot of people think, wow, this market, why there are coming there a new one and there a new one, because the market is still, the people think they're full. But we're just like getting started, that the companies recognizing digital marketing is working. So for everyone who starts now, or who starts a year ago, or as myself for 1.5 years, it was the best time to start, because now we're just like have the experiences, we know what's working, what's not working, and the market is still like growing, still going on, still you have to learn new strategies and all that kind of stuff. And the persons who just like started, because the market is new, like the digital marketing is not that like it is staying there for 20 years. So everything is changing, and there are a lot of faults and problems, and yes, of course. But if you're a hard worker and learning a lot of what's going on in the market, you totally see in a few seconds if someone is like really good in it, or is it just like a scammer who's just like telling you, I can do these results and these one. But if you're just being like focused and realize what's really going on, and that it needs time to grow, because a lot of persons think if you give them 150 euro, or you give them 1,000 euro, like in the next day you will have, I don't know, 10,000 more followers, or getting 20 new customers in your for your product. But it needs
Yeah.
trust. And that's, I think, one of the biggest points, that you have to explain them what you're doing, and especially what the results could look like. And that's just in being completely honest with them and explaining them how it will going on and how it will work and what time it needs to get good results.
You actually said a lot of golden nuggets in that whole paragraph you said, which is really good. One of the things he said, I really like what you said, was it takes time. Number two, you shouldn't feel like there's too much competition, because companies in Germany are still digital, you know what I'm saying? And then
Yeah.
also within Europe in general, the third thing is, where you said the scam thing. Actually, I don't want to say scam, but a lot of agencies don't do such a good job, because they're so focused on that old school print. They're so focused on print from back then, you know, like printing. So a lot of these guys just added digital marketing on recently, and
Yeah.
but that's not their core business model. Their business model is like newspaper print and things like that. So you're right about that, and that's really interesting to hear you say that. Another thing you said, which I found interesting, was budget.
Yeah.
I have had the issue too, that I've had a customer think that you're going to turn $100 into 1,000. You know, I'm not Jesus. I also think that, you know, I can only, I'm not there to perfect your product. Your product has to sell itself, right? So I can tell people about it and tell the right people about it, and then make sure you're getting the right, you know, audience for the amount of money you pay.
Yeah.
A lot of people make the mistake of thinking that you are in charge of product development as well. Like I've dealt with apps or any stuff like that,
Yeah.
where
Mm-hmm.
I'm bringing the right audience, but these people do not want to convert, because let's say this thing's left out like a 14-day trial, or
Yeah.
there's not a big enough audience. So those are two, in my opinion, some of the biggest things when it comes to marketing is, yeah, that people mistake you for a product, that you have to do the product development. How do you feel about that?
Well, actually, in the beginning, when I started like being self-employed and have my own company, it was quite like difficult, and it was hard, because you have to like you're being you're getting into in a world and in a circle where persons think that you, as you said it, like you can get 100 euro from them and you can give them 200 new customers. What's like when you see the difference from 100 euro and what they're getting when they're getting 200 customers is like a big thing between. And for me, it was the important, or what I've learned the most was find the right audience to talk to. Because when they understand what you're doing, because for us it's important that they understand what the possibilities could be and what the possibilities look like when they're working with us. Because for us, the thing is, what our main point is the position in the World Wide Web. You can have the best audience, you can have 20,000 followers, but when the audience is not connected with you and they don't want to, or they don't need your product, you can have as much followers as you want and you don't get results, because this is not the audience you're looking like or you're looking for. So for us, it's important to understand what's the meaning behind the product, what's the audience, what's the 100% audience that you're looking like to like want to connect. And then we're just like working to get like the trust point, because trust is the thing that you need to sell products. Because when they understand what you're doing and they understand what's your value from the product, they see the thing behind it and they start to think about, okay, do I really need this, or is it good for me? Can it help me in my situation if I have a problem or not? And then they decide, I need to connect them because I need to understand how I can get the best results with working with them. So in the start, it was very hard for me to understand how the world is going on. But now it's like, if you have the right audience, like everything is possible. And like how it is called, like the stars and the sky is the limit. Yes, it is, if you have the right strategy behind.
All right, stars and skies is the limit if you have the right strategy behind. I'm going to quote that for myself. What's your favorite digital marketing tool?
Well, for me, I think it's for now, for everyone who's like in the technology thing, it's definitely the artificial intelligence, because it's so much easier to work with the social media like platforms, and also like to understand, or you want to test like your audience, you have the possibility to test it and to see, okay, is it good to, I don't know, to take 5,000 euros per month and just like to put it in this audience. But when you first like split it and try it out and just give him like a little thing of your budget, you can see if it works or not. So for us, it was like the biggest game changer that we had, because when we started working with them, we saw results in a short time and we don't lose much time. And that's also a big thing. Like I think every company, you don't want to have like 2, 3, 4 months to understand if it's working or not. So you want to see like in a short time, okay, is it the right one, or should I like do some things that I will find the one who's looking for? So I think this for my company is the best thing that we're working with.
But also, do you have like a special app that you use that's one of your favorites as well?
Yes, of course. We are also working with them together. So for our like customers, they have also the opportunity to work with it. So it's proved. So we know that it's working, and we know we also we had an education to understand how the whole process is behind, to give our customers really like also an education that they will see, okay, this is what you will get. And the biggest part, okay, I don't know how to explain it really good in English, but the thing is, you don't give the intelligence the I need to think about how I can explain it. Es geht darum, du gibst dieser künstlichen Intelligenz nicht die komplette Kontrolle.
Oh yeah, you don't give the artificial intelligence complete control. Yeah, I get that.
Because you have also like for yourself, you can change in every time, like 24/7, you can change it, and you have the completely control of it. And this is, I think, in the most artificial intelligences, you don't have that thing that you can work with it and not just like have it to work with it, or with the thing what you're, because there are so many of them and you don't know which one is really good and which one will give you results and which not. And with this one that we're working, you have the control over it, and I think this is a big plus.
Okay, that's good to know. And another thing I'd like to ask you is, what are some of the prominent people that you follow when it comes to, digital marketing advice in both the English and German speaking world?
Yes, I think I would recommend two. Like in the English speaking area, I would definitely 100% support Gary Vaynerchuk. I don't know if you know him. Like, I think it's one of the biggest inspirations that owners and also like persons who want to grow in her personality could like get inspiration from, because he's so like grounded and he's such a big player in this area, but also gives you so many nuggets that you can directly start working. So they give you work, they give you an advice, and you don't need that to have to pay money for it. So you can directly get it into your mind and think about it and build a strategy that you can now start. So I think this would be a recommendation for the English world. And from the German part, I would say it's Torben Platzer. It's also like he's on the market, I think, right now for 4 or 5 years. I don't want to lie. I don't know it right now really, but I was on an event last year and it was like, I connected with so many people and the speech was also very, very nice and clear. And like the facts that they told us, they were so good to plan 2020 for myself, even when COVID comes. But also because like this was also like a thing. Nobody knows what's happening in the next years. You don't know what's happening with the world. You don't know what's happening with healthiness and all that kind of stuff. And I think now a lot of persons recognize and start thinking about, oh, what person would get a positive mindset in bad times. And I think these two are my biggest inspirations, where personally and of course business. So yeah, I would say these two are the best ones for myself.
All right, cool. Also, I'd like to know then, Gary V is somebody I follow often. He's also
Yeah.
inspiring. Um, I haven't really heard of the German one you've mentioned, but I'm going to check that out myself.
Yeah.
Only because, and I don't want to sound mean when I say this, but I feel like all the strategies come over to Germany much later.
Of
So
course.
when I end up watching these guys in German, they're telling me things that I knew about already 2 years ago. Like now the whole webinar thing is huge in Germany, for example. And we were talking about that in North America. They've been doing that since like 2016.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Well, Germany is so late in so many things what's digital. They're so like, well, I get my informations also from the States and from Bali and from Dubai. These are the three main things where I get all my informations from. And when I'm done talking to Germans who are new or also in the business for years, for really, I mean, for years, and I'm also an entrepreneur, I've been here 1.5 years, and I just talked to them, and they're just like stunning, like, what are you talking about? Where get you all that information from? And so this is why Germany is so late in it, and also the companies are so late in getting digital, because like in Germany it was never a point where you talked about, because you have the print and the TV and all that kind of stuff, and of course the newspaper. I think no younger person is getting into the newspaper and looking for a job, because they know they can do the World Wide Web, getting something in, typing inside, and getting a lot of things that you would never get in your newspaper when you want to read it.
yeah, those are really good points you said. And also, I didn't even think about Dubai. That's a good point you brought up as well. But yeah, that's a perfect explanation as to why the information travels here a lot slower. So that's a good point. What I'd also like to know, though, from you, because already you've explained yourself, about your strategies and everything, but I'd
Yeah.
like to know kind of what in particular helps you differentiate yourself from other agencies in your area. Like, how do you, you know, um, show that you're not the same as everybody else? What makes you unique in that aspect?
Yeah, well, I think this is the most questioned question, like when you're on a call or on a phone with somebody. And for me, I just write it down, because this was from Belfort. He has just one sentence what inspired me and giving me my vision, what I want to give the persons who I'm working with. And this was: the truth is, selling is everything in life. You either selling or you're failing, because that's life. like if you want to get to know somebody, you have to sell yourself, your personality. You want to get into a relationship, you have to get to know them better, and you have to, well, if you want to say it, but you have to sell yourself, that they want to fall in love with you, with your personality, with your character, and also as a person. And the same is in the, I would say, in the business area, because in the first thing is they recognize your, like, how you look like. Then the second thing is like how you talk, how you, they get the first introducing, like, is it sympathetic, is it not? Am I enjoying this call or am I not? So in the end, everything is selling in life. And I think this is one thing that we are focusing on. It's not like we want to sell our product. So the thing is that we want to give them, in a big relationship and in a big customer relationship and journey, the opportunity to understand what's really selling about. It's not about the product that you're selling. It's about the person who's selling the product to the market. And also, if you're not as a person in the market, you need your product to be a person, to show the world what's behind it. So what's the real value that you're giving? Maybe it's an emotion that they're person are laughing, that they're like, oh my God, I'm feeling just like being loved because of these new shoes. I just want them for 2 years ago, 2 years or whatever. So this is the thing, what the companies have to understand. You're not selling a person or a product, you're selling like a feeling, an emotion. And this is what they need to understand, and to need what strategy they need, or what strategy they have to learn to really do a good job in their market and to give the customers a journey. I would say this is the thing. What would it describe?
So would you say also that's the value in working with you together, for example?
Yes, I would say it's like my team is not that big. We are 6 persons in the team. I think for 1.5 years being self-employed, it's a really, really good thing to have these. And for us, it's important to connect with the persons behind the company, because it's also like we have a lot of calls. We have a lot of like strong things that we're talking about, and sometimes it's good and sometimes it's heavy. But if you're enjoying the time with being in a business relationship, you have to enjoy the calls, and you have to be focused, and you have to give advices that they will understand. And if you're just having sometimes maybe bad things you have to tell the customers, they are not enjoyed about it, of course, because it's hard sometimes to get from a person you don't know some advices, and you're just like, I don't know if this is the right one or not. But at that point, I think it's important to understand that the personalities who talking together have like a strong, like a bound, because for us it's important that the companies or the persons behind understand we just want the best for them, because if they're happy, we are happy. And we don't want to have bad times with them, of course. And if there is a point where it's working not that good, of course it's important to talk about it and have a conversation. And I think this is one part that we have really, really, really good like bounding with our customers, because they're having such a great customer journey working with us. And I think this is the best thing, and this is the biggest like how can I say, like references that we're getting is like always they're saying the results are on point, so they are very, very good. But the best thing is that the time when we are working with them is such fun, and having like good energy levels, and getting also the results in a short time that they like looking for, because in the end the results are this what they are looking for, but also having a good time and a good customer journey. So I think these two things is what especially us like differences from other companies in Frankfurt, because they are very, very big. We have just such big companies in the digital market, but then you're working with 10 persons, 20 persons for one project. And with us, you have one person who you really, really connected with. And if you need some things that you don't get from this person, especially like if I do an example myself, If you need something and I can't give it to you because it's not my specialization, I will talk to my colleagues and will say, hey, I have this customer, he needs this, that, blah, blah, blah. So they will give me the things and I will give it to you. So for you, in the end, you just have like one connection, what's really, really nice and good. And you can talk with them over everything because I know which person's behind my back knows the best things. So for you, it's like very easy. So you don't have to talk to them and explain them and this and that. So this is like one of the biggest things I think would differentiate us from the agencies in Frankfurt.
Yeah, I want to say, add a comment to what you said. You don't have 10 people working on the same thing. So many agencies have like 10 web designers,
Yeah.
5 digital marketers or whatever. And then like as a client, when you call there, you say, hey, I just wanted to have a report. Oh, who's working your project? Yeah, Jim said he was working on. Oh, well, he's not here today. He's sick. It's Jack, actually. Then you like
Yeah.
jump on all these different people. And I see the power actually in smaller numbers because you work with individual people who are specialists in this project, and if not, then you know what to get your value from somebody else. You know, you don't need this old school thinking of, hey, we got to hire 4 or 5 like I saw, no joke, an agency the other day where they had like 8 project managers,
Yeah.
and all they offered was web design and online marketing. They have 8 project managers. I don't understand why. I mean, to each their own, but this is a common thing that I see, you know. And
Yeah.
to be honest, I find
I think for really big projects, of course, you need more persons, of course, because there's so much to do. One person can't do it. But like in our company or in my company, is it like every person's no, or every person or individual knows that somebody has their back, because like if I can do it, I know persons who can do it. So I have a big circle in my like closest business persons who I'm connected with, that when I know, okay, my web designer can't do it, I know persons who can do it, and I know that they are doing good work. So in the end, like a small company, you can see it also as a big one, because we know persons who can do the same things like in the same quality that we can do. So in the end, if you need a big project, we also, small groups or small companies can go for it, because they know persons, like they connect with each other and say, okay, now do this project as a team. And so you're connecting also with persons and getting new and different was heißt Eindrücke?
different perspectives.
Yeah, different perspectives from different persons and different companies. And this is also a thing I would say like companies really love, because they want to get as many, or not as many, sometimes not, but in a few points they want to get a lot of introducing things and want to get to know, okay, what is your opinion, but what is the opinion of another expert. So yeah, I think this is like a good point to understand.
Yeah, and what I wanted to say too was, I know what you mean. Like they have a lot of people for bigger projects, but to be honest, the projects that I've seen and pumped out after this these days with digitalization, you don't really need. I mean, me as an agency owner myself,
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine hiring 20 people, even if I had the money. It's just this people with the digital world these days, and the freelance world and the virtual team world. You know, it's so much easier to
Yeah.
hire somebody outside, you know, than have a whole bunch of people in office. But to each their own. Like I said, I'm not trying to diss anybody either. I was just trying to say the efficiency, I think, is even better with a smaller team sometimes. But
Sometimes, yes.
yeah. What I'd also like to know is, you know, what's one advice from you? If you could give advice, if one advice, which one would it be? You know, specifically from you, from your experience in this field.
hmm I would say if you're not being in the digital marketing or you're being not digital positioned, it's not too late. Don't think that it's too late to get your position right. So I would say my advice, start now, look for the right persons who can help you to be positioned in the World Wide Web, and start to find yourself what's your need or what's your big picture that you want to get in the World Wide Web. So because the digital projects or the digital marketing just starts right now. It's not like a market who is over exploding. So it's just like it's in the beginning. So you're not too late to start your position in the market. So this is, I think, the best advice. If you're not being positioned, start now.
Yeah, I think that's a really good advice. Start now. People still have a little bit of time, and I feel like with Corona too, it kind of.
Yeah.
I'm trying to say optimistic when I say this, and I don't want to sound too optimistic, but I felt like it kind of slowed the world down a bit for other people to catch
Yeah.
up. If you see it positively like that. What's the best way to reach you? Is it per Instagram or LinkedIn? Or tell us how, if somebody wants to reach out to you, either an agency owner who wants to collaborate with you, like myself, or as a private person who's interested in your services, what's the best way?
I would say the best way is over the socials. I mean, you can like send me an email, of course, but I think the best way is actually LinkedIn, because you connect with persons who you want to connect with. And I'm also daily online, so I will definitely see the messages, and then we can connect, have a talk, and like do some appointments and all that kind of stuff. So the best thing to reach me, I would say, is LinkedIn.
And do you offer, your consultations? Do you have like a schedule or anything like that? If somebody would like to book a consultation, also, are they free consultations? So, can you tell us a bit
Yeah,
about that?
the first connection is always free. It's like when we're just going into strategies or talking about like consulting things, then of course, like I have also like a payment for an hour if they don't want to get to like a longer time of working together, because they just need some advices. This is also a thing that we're like doing, especially just myself, because I know the market in the best way of my customers or my what they are looking for. But yeah, of course, there is also like a free thing. And if they want to get some information, we have marketing proposals who I can send them with also references from customers that we worked with. So yeah, if you just want to reach out to me, just like send me a DM, and then we can connect and take a look what the future will hold us.
Well, Jacqueline, thank you so much for, on such short notice, to do this interview, and just hang tight after the recording as well, so we can have a little briefing after. But thank you so much. I know my audience looks forward to hearing what you have to say.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the.
And just I wish you the best success, and I hope that you use this time to become even more successful and bring a lot of more companies on board with digital marketing and things like that.
Yeah, thank you so much for the opportunity to just have a talk with you. It was really, really nice to get to know you also, and wish you also a great day. And thanks. Yes.
All right. Take care.
Take care. Bye.